Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day so far. I'm really excited about today's episode because today we complete the first chapter in the Gospel of Matthew. And that means, of course, tomorrow we go on to chapter 2. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this journey that we've gone on so far. We're still in the infancy narratives of Jesus, which is kind of fitting because we're getting into the Christmas season a little bit. But today we're going to look at chapter 1, verses 24 and 25. And they say, "When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife, but had no marital relations with her until she had borne a son, and he named him Jesus." So just a couple quick notes on this particular passage. One, we see Joseph waking up from his dream. He immediately goes, just as he goes and he takes Mary as his wife. He fulfills that betrothment that we had talked about earlier in the podcast. Because in Jewish culture, engagements lasted. Even in engagement, in their culture, it was still considered married. You just weren't allowed to live with each other yet. So he takes Mary and he completes this process. And verse 25 becomes interesting. Verse 25 says, "But had no marital relations with her until she had borne a son." So does this mean that Joseph had normal sexual relations with the Virgin Mary after Jesus was born? In our English translation, it certainly seems like it. But remember, it was originally written in Koine Greek. That Greek word for until is a word called hios. It's a Greek word called hios, and it doesn't necessarily, the Greek word translated, it doesn't imply normal marital conduct after the birth of Jesus. So that's not a definite, yes, that's what happened. So this is one of the verses, this is what I believe I personally hold, in the perpetual virginity of Mary. And we'll get into it later on when we talk about other verses in regard to Jesus and Mary as well, particularly in chapter 5 of Matthew, which will be further down the road. So this Greek word until, hios, it doesn't mean until like in our language today. So the best way to describe that it's used here in the sense of up to but not after. So we use until in this way today as well. So for example, we might say that he was faithful to his wife until he died. This doesn't mean that after he died that he was unfaithful. Is that okay? It's kind of used as a figure of speech there. So it doesn't necessarily denote that. But the last part of this verse is also very important. And he named him Jesus. Joseph named the child in the manger, the Savior of the world. He named him Jesus. He obeyed the angel's command to name the child Jesus. I think this part really gets lost on us a lot today. By doing this was the job of a man in Jewish culture. This was the job of a father in Jewish culture. So by doing this, he's claiming the earthly fatherhood of Jesus. He is claiming Jesus as his son. A very, very important part. It's because of this sequence of events that Joseph is the unsung hero of the Christmas story. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this edition of the Daily Bible Podcast. Join me tomorrow as we start delving into the Gospel. Well, we're already in the Gospel of Matthew, but in chapter 2 of the Gospel of Matthew. And that's where we start talking about King Herod, the wise men, the manger, all that stuff we hear about at Christmas time. God bless you guys. Take care. Have a great day.